Hello everybody and welcome back to ZAWA together from my wonderful little base that I made in the last episode. So as I was editing the last episode, I realized that I'm still wearing my apocalypse skin. Look at that. I've got dirt on my face. My pants are dirty and torn. I think I need to go and see if I have something else that I can wear. Alright, let me see what I could wear. Yeah, maybe some of that. Yeah, I think we've got some options here. Yeah, I can work with that, but I think I need a little bit of privacy. Okay, so let's see. Nah, I don't think that's it. Don't really like that one. Nah. Not this one either. Oh, I think that one could be it. Oh, I think this one suits me really well. Ooh, I feel so much better already. Seriously though, don't I fit perfectly in here? So now that that's taken care of, let's move on to other things. I have prepared some demonstrations of the block palettes that I want to use throughout parts of the zoo. For example, this beautiful stone palette. Let's have a closer look. So we have our trusty rocky stone over here, which is really a wonderful stone. And then of course cobblestone, although I like to use that sparingly because there's just a little bit too much variation in the color of the texture from me, so it kind of sticks out as compared to the other stones. But now we have access to the chisel tool in this mod pack. I have used this for the zoo that I built in Minecraft 1.12, and I really liked this texture back then. So it's called Trodden Bricks, and it just totally tones down the cobblestone texture, and it's also the only kind of natural looking texture that the chisel tool has, unfortunately. I like I like my textures to be natural, but unfortunately, apart from that, it's mostly just different shapes of bricks. The only other thing that kind of works, but only for the cobblestone, is the zag texture. You can see it kind of has like these diagonal lines here, but they don't stick out too much, and it also kind of mutes down the rest of the cobblestone texture. So this is also one that I might be using sparingly. Then we have andesite, and in the Trodden Bricks texture stone, as well in the Trodden Bricks texture, and of course the overgrown stone, which is going to go on top of a lot of the boulders, I think. So far I have only found the Biomes you go overgrown stone, which spreads to other stones, so we need to be careful here. The Biomes of Plenty has an overgrown stone that doesn't spread, but I haven't found that yet. And now we have some mossy varieties. We have the mossy cobblestone and the mossy stone, which are both really nice, and the color kind of matches the color that we have in this biome here. And then we have the chiseled version of the mossy, like 3 different ones. We have the Trodden Bricks, the disordered tiles, which in the mossy version I think kind of works, even though we kind of have like the square bricks. And we have the zag again, which also isn't really obvious when you have the mossiness on top. I don't really know why they chose this darker, more bluish green for the mossy textures, as opposed to like the original green that the cobblestone has. But I think it could bring in some interesting variety and like the tones of green. They are a little bit, I wish there was a little bit less difference between those two colors, let's say it that way. But I think it can work. So I think we have a really great range of bricks here that we can use for the rocky features in the zoo. Unfortunately, it means that we can't really use stone for any of the buildings, because I realized when building Toucan Bay that it just doesn't look good when you try to have the terrain in the stony colors and then also try to have a building in the same color. It looks weird. So I'm gonna have to make the buildings out of other things. Now let's move on. There is a little bit of a black texture thing that I've made here, I'm not sure yet if I'm going to be using this for boulders or for anything else, but basically we have the basalt from the Biomes of Plenty mod. This is a pain to get because it only generates around lava lakes. So you kind of have to get rid of the lava to be able to mine a lot of this, and even then it's just like, yeah, one layer around the lava pocket. But it comes in these nice chisel textures. This one is called Cracked. Not I don't like it as much as the trodden bricks, definitely, but it adds another kind of texture, and I think it also goes pretty well with the soapstones from the Biomes You'll Go. And over here we have a white version. I'm also not quite sure what I'm going to be using this for, maybe for buildings. We have the marble from the Biomes of Plenty mod, which also comes in trodden bricks and cracked. And we have our diorite, which I know a lot of people are not a big fan of. Neither am I if it's used too much, like too much in the same place. But I think it can add a nice texture addition to this, and especially in combination with the chipped version of the diorite, or one of the chipped version, which also has like a nice natural texture. I also created two different path versions, and I'm not sure which one I want to use yet, or maybe I will use both in different parts of the zoo. So this one is a more natural looking one, and I've been thinking maybe I should exchange the gravel for coarse dirt or something, because yeah, the light gray just kind of sticks out a little bit, but I really like the combination of the path blocks and the grass with the logs. I've taken oak logs and spruce logs, and yeah, I like this. It's a very like wood path like feel. And the other one is kind of like this bright stone thing. So like I said, I couldn't use any of the other stones. For this, it would look weird, so I need kind of a little bit of a contrast so that you know, okay, this is a path and this is landscape. And so I've been using these two blocks from the ZAWA mod, the mixed stone and the mixed mossy stone, which I don't know if this is because of the shader, but you can barely see a difference. Then we have the dacite bricks, which are also some lighter colored bricks, and the thatch, also from the ZAWA mod, which is made out of yellow bamboo. And I think this actually works pretty well. And then I also put some logs, the fir logs in that case, because the color matches pretty well, into this for some additional texture. And I think this works well for some of the more central paths, I guess, in the zoo, where you don't want people to get muddy feet. Like this path feels a little bit like on some days you would get muddy feet, and I don't know if that's the right vibe for a zoo, so I've got to think about it. So the kind of big mistake that I've made here is that I put all of these examples exactly where I want to build now, because I want to build something on top of and surrounding our entrance to our underground base. So that's, I don't know, that's not ideal. Maybe I will just build it more in that direction, or I will have to just take screenshots of this and remove those things. So I'm going to have to clean up a little bit more space here. This house has to go. The reason I haven't taken it down yet is because there's something I want to show you here as well. So we got this chest from Cinnamon, actually already a little time ago, but I've kept it here because I wanted to show it to you. So for Christmas, Cinnamon gave me a panda, which is amazing. Thank you so much. So we now have a panda that we can put into our zoo. Of course, like one panda is not ideal. I think we need a second one, and I guess I'm going to have to buy this. So I've been thinking maybe this is actually the way that Cinnamon gets his sales, right? You give someone one panda, and then of course they need more, and then you sell them for a high price. So that's not bad. I think I realized recently that I forgot to make a chest for bears. I think I'm going to start to use this one. Remind me if I forget where I put my panda. It's in this unlabeled chest. I should label it soon. And finally, I wanted to thank you guys a lot for the response to my last video. I got so many comments. It was amazing. So thank you everyone who left a comment and also who recommended a name for the cat and the bird. A lot of the suggestions for the cat were snow related, which totally makes sense. But the one that kind of spoke to me the most, because it's a little bit goofy, is the name Snowball. Keith suggested that, so thank you very much, Keith. And you are now named Snowball. And for the bird, Patroclus suggested the name Tweety, so you are going to be Tweety. Very nice. Oh, I almost forgot. I grew some trees over here because those are trees that I also want to use in my zoo. So in Toucan Bay, I absolutely avoided like any kind of like unnatural colors for trees. I mean, I know those are supposed to be flowers, but trees don't flower all year. But I really like those. The pink cherry from Biomes of Plenty and the jacaranda also from Biomes of Plenty. And I also really like the dynamic trees because they look so much less bulky. They do sometimes grow in like awkward shapes, so you kind of have to sometimes regrow them or like trim them a little bit. But I think they would go really well with the vibe that I'm imagining. And back here we have the autumnal oak, also from Biomes of Plenty. And I also really like this one. The leaf texture I think is really pretty. And I think this is another great color to include in our zoo. But I'm also going to include some green trees, I think. Yeah, we also need some green trees, not just like the weird colored ones. Okay, now I'm going to take down this house and maybe some additional trees to make some space so that we can start building, and then I'll be right back with you. Okay, I've made a bit more space and I've moved back the blocks from our block pallets. I haven't moved the paths. I guess those can stay below here. And I've made some changes to the way we enter our base. So I made a water elevator and a drop because, well, and we currently still have the ladder, but I'm gonna remove that. Anyway, yeah, the reason I've done that is the whole terrain is going to be lifted up somewhat. So I want a certain degree of verticality in my zoo. So the entire thing is going to be higher up, and I think the ladder would just really get on my nerves after a while if I constantly have to walk up and down. And this way is much faster. So now before I can start, we need to relocate our animals. So for example, these ones, where am I going to put you guys? So the bird, Tweety, and the sheep. Do you guys think we need a name for the sheep as well? I don't know, but I'm gonna steal some of these and then maybe just put it a little bit further over here. For example, here we can still keep a good eye on them, but they won't be in the way of what I'm building. All right, let's get you. Luckily, you're not a bird that flies very fast. He's a very cute bird, but the thing that gets me right now is that apparently these shaders have shadows for the name tags, which is pretty wild. And you are coming with me as well. And now I think Snowball is going to live down in the base with us, down in my little room. So I hope you will follow me and kind of teleport to me when I go down there. Can we do that? Can we do that, little guy? There you are. Very good. Come over here. Yeah, come here. Come to me. Nice. Okay, that's good. And one thing that this little room needs, now that we have a cat down here, is a scratching post. And we do have a scratching post from the ZAWA mod, which is an enrichment item for some animals. Oh, that's more scratching posts than I need. But it doesn't matter. Where should I put it? Maybe here? It's kind of in front of the cupboard over here. But I guess that's fine. Alright. Oh, maybe I will put a pressure plate on top of there, so it's kind of like a cat tree. That is absolutely perfect. Okay, so here's what I'm trying to do. I already mentioned that I want this entire zoo to be like a rocky landscape with some water, so I want it to be kind of craggy, like with big boulders and rock pillars where water flows between them, kind of. So that's my idea. And for this build here that goes on top of our base, I want something kind of with like 3 layers. So on the bottom layer, there's just going to be basically like water, like a little lake or river running around the entire structure. Then there's going to be a big rocky thing, and on top of that is the middle layer that's going to have a little structure like a gazebo or something like that on top of it, and also some water, like a little river that runs across it and has a waterfall down the side. And then there's going to be an even taller rock pillar behind that also kind of like has water flowing down that then goes into that little river. And maybe there will be like a recess in that taller pillar where we can also put a portal for our zoo, because right now I'm still using Or's portal. By the way, how come every time I get started on a new server I just start mooching off Or? So I want the exit of that water elevator to come out on the middle layer, and then the thing to go down, which we seem to have caught a butterfly here, will have several ways to get in. So one from the bottom layer, because that's where we are probably currently mostly going to go in and out, but soon I want to raise the surroundings to kind of the height of the middle layer, more or less as well. And then we're going to start using it from further up. But I mean, with like, it's just a drop, right? We can enter at any point we like. Okay, I think this is up high enough. And I've started creating a dirt platform here that we can later build on. And now I want to mark out where everything should go. You always end up needing more space than you thought you did, of course. But I hope I've given myself enough space. I've tried to mark out everything that I want as detailed as possible, but just to be safe, I am going to build everything that goes on here before I build the rock pillars, because I really don't want to have to do that twice. So I'm just looking at it from the bottom and I'm wondering if I want it to be a bit higher. I don't know, I kind of envisioned it to be higher than it is wide, I guess. Okay, that's a lot better, I think. We're already starting off with a lot of verticality here. Perfect. Okay, so about the gazebo, it's going to sit on this dacite pedestal, and then I want the pillars to be made out of quartz, like this. And then I hope I will manage to make like a pretty roof shape. What I'm going for is kind of like a Japanese pagoda look. I think this could work. And now for the color of the roof, I want to use the Umbran wood because I really, really like that color. Okay, I think I managed to do it. I really like how this looks. The only problem is, do I need this to be a block lower? Or does this work? The roof, I mean. I think this is cool. I need to remove this block here, and I need to make sure these are all quartz pillars. And then I think we're good. Okay, now the pagoda needs some fences around. And I think we're done with the gazebo / pagoda thing. Okay, so I also want trees up here. One on this level and one on top of the taller level. And since we already have a purple roof, I'm not going to use the jacaranda, I'm going to use the other two. And now here's one thing I remember from the last time I worked with the dynamic trees in Minecraft 1.12, but I'm guessing that didn't really change, is that they need a lot of dirt around their trunks to grow to a proper size. So if I was to like place a block here and plant a tree on top, that one would stay pretty small. So I think what I might need to do is just extend this out a little bit. I want to put some like more stony things around here and into the ground as well. But I need enough dirt around where I'm planning to plant the tree for it to grow to a proper size. So I don't know if 5 by 5 is enough. It's certainly not bad. And let's put the autumnal oak here. So It's not gonna have too much space to expand to this side, but the nice thing about the dynamic trees is that they can kind of grow around things. So bone mealing doesn't do too much with these, like they grow pretty slowly, but at least we can get a start and get an idea of how it's going to grow. As soon as this tree is the right size that I want it to be, I will remove the superfluous dirt around it, and then it should stop growing, if I remember correctly. But now that we've got this far, I think I want to build the rest of this in a time lapse. So you guys can just sit back and enjoy while I bang out the rest of this build. Well, everyone, I think that turned out quite nicely, but I would love to hear what you think about it. So this is like the base theme that I want to go for in my zoo, with those kind of like big boulders and rock pillars. And I think that's going to look awesome, but it's also going to be a bit of a painful build. I don't know what I was thinking with like that kind of block palette. Who wants to use that many different blocks? To be honest, I didn't quite use all of them. Maybe I will find a better technique, a better process, how I can incorporate more of them. But so far, I think this is pretty cool. These leaves I added to the outside kind of on a whim, and I think I have to think about them a little bit. They do have glowing leaves in the middle that come from the witch hazel tree, and you can see them a bit more than I anticipated, so I'm not sure yet, but I think they are quite cool, especially with the branches from the ZAWA mod that are an enrichment item for animals, which kind of looks like roots that this plant is using to cling to the rock surface. So I think that's really cool. But anyway, that is it for this episode. The next episode is going to be a special one because we're going to be playing a game on the server with some of the others. So that's going to be very fun, but it also means that we can't start any animal exhibits yet. And I'm really excited to start building for some animals and have some animals in my zoo. So that is going to have to wait one more episode, and then we are finally going to get started. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Maybe consider leaving a like if you did, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Bye bye!